Video we'll discuss about how to balance an equation. So I'm going to write an equation down. This is one of the most basic form of equation. That is magnesium combines with oxygen to form magnesium oxide. We have to balance this following equation. So first, as we all know, an equation has two sides, LHS and right hand side. This is LHS, I'm just writing it as L. Okay, now we're going to balance the equation. What does balancing an equation mean? An equation means that to make the molecular mass of each element present in the left-hand side and right-hand side of an equation equal. As we can see, in the left-hand side of this equation, the molecular mass of magnesium is 1 and the molecular mass of oxygen is 2 because oxygen is a diatomic element. So obviously its molecular mass is going to be 2. But if you look at the right hand side, the molecular mass of magnesium is 1. So atomic number, sorry, the molecular mass of magnesium in LHS and RHS are equal. But in the right hand side, the molecular mass of oxygen is 1. As as we all know, in the LHS side, the molecular mass of oxygen is 2. But in right hand side, it's 1. So it's not equal. We have to make the molecular mass of oxygen equal. So first, for that, we prepare a table. In table, I'm going to write E. The E represents element. L, that's the left-hand side. And R, that's the right-hand side of equation. Okay. So what are the elements that are involved in this reaction? Magnesium and oxygen. So we mentioned those elements on the element column. Magnesium and oxygen. Okay, now focus on the left-hand side of the equation. And in the magnesium section, I'm just going to write here too. In magnesium, we mentioned in this column a molecular mass, okay? What is the molecular mass of magnesium in the left-hand side? Molecular mass of magnesium in the left-hand side is 1. And right-hand side is also 1. So molecular mass of magnesium are equal. What is the molecular mass of oxygen in the left-hand side? As I said, oxygen is a diatomic element, so obviously its molecular mass is going to be 2. 2. But in case of RHS, the magnesium reacts with oxygen form magnesium oxide. And the molecular mass of oxide is 1. See, 2 is not written here. So the molecular mass of oxygen here is 1. So we have to make the molecular mass of oxygen equal. How can we do this? I can do this by adding another oxygen molecule to the RHS side. So it will become 2Mg, 2MgO, 2 magnesium oxide. Since magnesium oxide is a compound, the 2 is shared among magnesium as well as oxygen. So the molecular mass of magnesium will also be 2 and molecular mass of oxygen will also be 2. But now, since the molecular mass of oxygen is equal, but is the molecular mass of magnesium equal? No. I can make this equal by adding another magnesium molecule to the LHS part. So it will be 2 magnesium, 2 magnesium. Okay, so the 2 get cancelled, 1 get cancelled to 2. So molecular mass of magnesium and oxygen in both left-hand side and right-hand side are equal. And there's also one thing we have to keep in mind. in compounds such as lead nitrate. Okay, compounds such as lead nitrate, Pb, NO3, the whole twice. In case of this compound, the 2 is placed outside the parenthesis, okay? So the 2 is common molecular mass for nitrogen as well as oxygen. But keep in mind, it's given that the molecular masses of oxygen is already 3. And the 2 here outside the parenthesis is common for both nitrogen as well as oxygen. So molecular mass of nitrogen is 2. But the molecular mass of oxygen is 3 times 2. That'll give you 6. An easy way to keep this in mind is that we have mathematically 5 parentheses. 5 means 5 multiplied by 5, right? That is 25. Similarly, use this trick to understand this. Here, 3 is located inside the parenthesis while 2 is located outside the parenthesis. So 2 multiplies with 3 to form 6. So molecular mass of oxygen is 6. Just keep that in mind. That's all you have to know about how to balancing an equation.